So, Bill, everyone knows that you're with the Fleshtones. I mean, you've been there since when?
I joined in May of 1980, so we're coming up
been a year or two.
on an anniversary of joining the Fleshtones.
But, like everybody else, you started locally.
That's right.
I mean, and your family's musical to begin with.
That's right.
So, fill me in on that.
Well, I'll go back to real quick. My parents, although I could talk about that for a long time, there was always music around the house, as there is in a lot of houses,
Sure.
And my parents played all around the Capital District. Probably before it was called the Capital District, they just called it the area, I think. And anyway, as time went on, around 15, for some reason, I just had a hankering for the drums. And sure enough, I was banging around the house so much, my mother said, "You want to go down to Romeo's music store
Romeo's music
and take lessons."
There you go.
And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to." And I took my first drum lesson, and that they said, "Oh, now you should practice about a half hour every day." I got home around 4 o'clock in the afternoon and practiced till midnight. And started right up on Sunday. And so I just, I found somehow, it just, suddenly I was very happy.
It made sense.
Yeah, it made real sense. And it made me a real happy kid, happy teenager. How do you become a happy teenager? I don't know, but that did it for me. And so I started to play around underage around the area. I got with a band called the Charades.
Okay.
From South Troy, and they were a band that played everything. They started out as a polka band, but they converted to what they call American music. We played all the hits of the time, which was Herb Alpert, Tijuana Brass, the Animals, the Beals. We had to play everything. And so we did a lot of weddings and did a lot of nightclubs, and I was underage at 16, 17. And the legal age then was 18.
Correct. Yeah.
So I was still underage at 16 and 17. And then on from there. And so that was my local playing history.
Now, how did you end up in New York with, and then ending up in the Fleshtones?
In 1976, I just moved to New York.
Okay.
With very little money, but I had a real great friend called Gary Burke, who was we grew up on the same block, and Gary has played drums with everybody and is just fabulous. And so I moved into this great opportunity. It was just a little room above an off-Broadway theater on East 4th Street, between 3rd and 2nd in New York City. And Gary lived upstairs, and I had my little room downstairs. And a lot of the gigs that he had, and he was getting too busy for, because he was the drummer now at Radio City Music Hall, the percussionist. And I would get some of his nightclub contacts and started playing cabaret around. Now, East 4th Street, where we were living, is only a block from CBGBs. So one night walked down there and said, "Oh my God." I said, "This is going on a block away from me. I want this." And so I kept my eyes and ears open for a rock and roll band. And there was an ad in the Village Voice for a drummer, and it said the Fleshtones. I said, "I heard of them." So I showed up in an audition. A couple of days later, they said, let's keep rehearsing together. We'll see how it goes. And so that's how it began. And that was May of 1980.
Wow. So yeah, I mean, you were the new guy at that point. You're
I
the
was.
second drummer.
I was. I was. They went through a couple of guys, and one of the guys, they were a real fast, kind of speedy band at the time, and a couple of their drummers were kind of like pot smokers and slowed down, and it got a little rough there, and they said, we got to just find somebody who wants to play like us,
Sure.
and I did, and so.
Now, I think the first time I booked with Jimmy Barrett, the Fleshtones in up here was 91, I believe.
I think I remember where it was.
It was at Valentine's.
It was at Valentine's.
And that was the CD release party, and we opened up for you guys at our own CD release party.
That's right. That's right.
And I remember meeting all the boys, and it was like a dream come true for us because we'd been fans, et cetera, et cetera. And it was, the graciousness of the band was one thing that really impressed me. And, you guys have done it. You've been all over. You go to Spain, you go to Europe, you've played all over the United States, yet they're still the nicest guys ever. What is the key to that? How does a band who's accomplished everything like that, and you yourself especially, how do you stay so humble?
Well, it's just, there's no braggarts in the band, and everybody's very real. That's what I liked about the guys as I got to know them.
Sure.
They were just for real and down to earth, regular guys. And just because you get a little success is no reason to start talking about it. Why talk about a little? And even if you get a lot, there's always somebody else with more. So, if you spend all your time talking about what you did and how great you are, I think you probably really haven't done anything of value yet, So we just kept at it with that attitude. And of course, when we came up here, that was a big thrill for us. Oddly enough, we never played Albany. And we had Albany on our list. And so when we played Valentine's, that was a big show. That was a big show for us. And we were very, very happy to be there. And of course, you guys in the Lawn Sausages were equally nice. So it was just like, nice getting together with like minds and like personalities.
So, you're getting a Hero Award.
I like it. I heard that.
A lot of people were surprised when I told them that you still reside in good old Troy, New York.
Mm-hmm.
They all think that you're this, bon vivant from New York City.
Yeah.
And it's kind of fun knowing that, the rock star next door, so to speak. Yet you don't ever act like a rock star.
Well, for the reasons that we were just talking
Right.
about.
You
got to be a geek jerk to act like that. And I'm not either one of those, I don't think.
No.
But I'm in Troy because, let's see, I was living in New York City from 76 till, I guess, about 2008. I moved to Troy. It was just time to do so. I had enough of the city.
Sure.
And the city started to change. And it was a great place to live at the time, and I don't think it is now. So much for opportunity of just moving into the East Village and getting an apartment or a one bedroom or a studio for $75 a month. No, that's all gone now.
Sure.
For somebody aspiring. And
now you mentioned CBGBs.
yeah.
But I've talked to a few people over the years, and they always thought of you guys as a mud club band. Because you guys have a dance element. CBGBs a lot of times was just screw it, let's bash.
That's right.
And you guys had more of a vibe.
We did, and now the band started to play the Mud Club before I joined the band.
Okay.
And so they were more of a Mud Club band. And they were kind of a likable oddity even then at the Mud Club, because they weren't really an art project, like the Talking Heads
Sure.
or the Bush Tetras or many of the bands from there. But they were, their niche was a fun band to watch for the half hour, because usually the sets back then, I am told, were about a half hour, 10 song sets and off. So they were more that, but they were also known at CBGBs as time went on.
Yeah, we even had a shower curtain at one of my bars.
That's right.
That was all the CBGBs playbills. And you guys were on there a few times with different acts like the Dictators or whatever. So just to wrap this up, one, we're honored to be giving you this award. And it's for me, it's really important personally. We've met each other a few years back, and we've become personal friends. I want to thank you for being as gracious as you always are. And your band coming up here and playing a couple times a year, that's a big deal in Troy, New York, especially. Do you have any advice for anybody out there just starting and doing it now?
I wouldn't know how to do that now. I would just say, if you're a musician, learn your instrument. If you're an actor,
Learn your craft.
learn that craft. Start there at a very young age. Get your foundation.
The old 10,000 hours of practice to become proficient rule, correct?
Something like that, exactly. That's where you start. And if you've got that, it's all about the lucky break. Years ago, I'd say, you have a friend in New York, lean on them, crash out at their little teeny apartment, and get in and get to know people. But I don't think you can even do that anymore. So I wouldn't know where to send anybody, and that they wouldn't want to listen to me anyway for all the right reasons. But learn whatever you're doing, learn it just for itself and just for loving it. When you take that first lesson and they say, oh, now you should do this a half hour every day, go home and practice 10 hours until you fall asleep.
Right. Bill, thank you very much. Honored.
Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
Honored, my friend.
My honor.